Hi, this is a reading for the collective for August 2021, just to see where we at energy wise after the Lions Gate portal, which is still open. We want to see where we headed as humanity, where we going, what's our end game, and I call on to the divine beings that you are, the eternal beings that you all are. That if you're watching this, you're watching from the eternal part of you and you let go of all that is 3D. My goal is to connect to that part of you. So even if certain things do not hit where they need to hit, it's all right, let it go. You do not have to remember everything because sometimes when we forget things, it's all for our own good because it's just got integrated. It's better than remembering it, right? So, from the perspective of, wow, the collective, the entire humanity, I know not everybody watches tarot, but this is the vehicle, this is the platform which I've chosen for the truth to come out, for us to connect, for us to strip away all the delusions as fast as we can. Whoever is closest, whoever wants to, needs to, can do it faster, arrive at that conclusion faster. But we are all going to get there because it's the end game. So it means all the souls of one consciousness, all the energy that is currently absorbing or in the ether between us, are all going towards that goal. There's no separate realms that we are all going to exist in. We are all going together right there. So that's the end goal. So where are we going? What is the end goal? How do we prepare for it? Where we are on that path, because I'm seeing multiple things. I'm seeing a staircase, I'm seeing a road, it can be anything. See, my mind's a jumble. Whatever you call it, I mean, you call it a stairway to heaven or a path of truth that is hard to walk on, or you see decline into the devil's den, I don't know. But humanity is definitely heading somewhere. What is the end game? What is the end goal? Because total destruction is right on time. We heavily agree on total destruction. Let's just destroy it. We get that. We accept it. The violence is, it's an awesome feeling. Who would want to let go of violence, bullying, or power of that kind? But at the same time, where we headed? We want to see where are we headed as a whole. Is there a way? Is there a way to know I used to say this a lot, that if I only knew what to do, then I'll do it. So that's what this reading is going to be all about. Tell us what needs to be done, so then we do not have much of a, reason to delay things anymore. If we are, falling in that category, and most of us do fall in that category, we say to ourselves that, if I only knew, right? So let's see if we can know as a whole where exactly, what is happening, why, and what do we need to do about it. Okay, one more card. We are 9 cards in. There may be more cards that come out for clarity, or we get another shuffle in it, but alright, so there would be multiple storylines at the same time as the collective truth, I guess, because the cards say so. And I may get out more of these as we go on, if I want to, if the need arises. Alright, so the first card out we have is past lives. I don't know how clear we are on past lives, so I could give you a lowdown on it. We definitely have past lives. You don't have to believe in reincarnation. We definitely have had past lives. I have said this, and I'll probably say this many, many times, million times in my video library, my channel, that in order to leave, see, we are on earth and the rule of gravity applies on all things living and non-living, because they do have a magnetic field. If they are a structure, if they are occupying space, they have a field, a magnetic field, and in that magnetic field it can soak up many things. Now if it is a neutral object, let's say a piece of furniture, it doesn't carry its own energy, maybe, not the kind of energy that you would call as aggressive or anything even touching upon human emotions. It may be just neutral energy, but it's still energy, and it still has a magnetic field which can soak up energies of that space where it is at, what it is being exposed to. Same goes for any living being. We all are on this planet, we all have a magnetic field, and when we give up on that magnetic field, we still do not go anywhere. Case in point, they say heaven and hell are on earth. Why? Well, nobody leaves. How can one leave? We were all attracted towards the earth's gravity. There still may be more getting attracted towards earth's gravity, new energy. But we don't leave earth's gravity unless we plan on doing so. We do it purposefully. So even after you give up on the magnetic field, which is you're dead, and when you're dead, when you do not have a consciousness anymore, then all of this, because energy would retain the properties of the vessel or whatever container or whatever magnetic field it was a part of. And anyway, all the characteristics, all the features of you are not going nowhere. All those circular emotions and circular thoughts, all those cyclical behaviors, cyclical patterns, cyclical faith and everything, belief, it's now you. You call it DNA. But you cannot attribute emotional qualities to DNA alone. So we are all in the end redistributed and scattered. We all have each other in each other. There is nothing new that we are doing. We are dipping into the consciousness pool and extracting what we need to experience. And we may see it as karma, we may see it as misfortune, we may see it as just blind luck, we may see it as triggers, we may see it as patterns. It's all up to us. But we are the ones dipping into the one consciousness pool and picking whatever we want to experience. And then if somebody tells us that you chose it, you will be like, that's impossible. First of all, let's just agree upon that I would never choose none of this from you. Well, you're fighting with the wrong people. You need to go inside and check with the person who's doing this. Like, yo, what's the rules you damn go by? Because it ain't the same as mine. What are you looking at? Because I don't know these. We like to fool ourselves. Many a times what we have done is something that we have picked up from our direct atmosphere, from our direct environment, or even from 2000 centuries ago. We pick it up. So alive or dead, we are going nowhere, even with all the efforts that you put in your life to, that you release once one day you're going to go to heaven. You're not going nowhere, you're staying here. So this, the past lives, even if they don't make sense to you, they do exist. But the perception that a whole of you has gone into something else, or a whole of you has been traveling through dimensions, is kind of iffy. Because for the whole of you to accumulate, well, that's really, because it's all scattered, it doesn't have a magnetic field anymore. What can happen is energies sharing equal attributes, or energies of a particular magnetic field which are so strong that the components of that energy is thick, heavy, and not easily absorbable by other. Those energies had properties which does not resonate immediately with other energies. Like if you are a non-violent person, right, you may absorb the power of someone who is violent, the guilt, maybe. You may absorb that guilt, that shame, that, oh God, but you will feel it the moment they're dead. You'll be like, oh God, but he was a good person. There was just, you might just, oh, but the shame, the guilt, oh, so much pain this person caused so many people, all of that. You may walk away with that part of them. But there may be a lot still that doesn't get absorbed. The violent part of them. Maybe in their environment there is no violence of that sort to get absorbed. But still people could take inspiration from this person, and years later, centuries later, there could be many who, because once you've done something, again there is some certain things that we say that God's watching everything. God is watching everything. God is everywhere. Actually, it's one consciousness. We are everywhere. We are watching everything. There's nothing that you do which is in the dark. It's going to get picked up on. All of us are watching. Some of us are going to pick it up. And we are going to then do it in our lives, whether consciously or even unconsciously. Anywhere in the world, if anything happens, you're suddenly open to that experience. There is a part of you that immediately gets scared when you listen to something or hear something, or you're like, oh God, school shooting. Immediately, what if it was me? Even if there is none, even if there's like, oh my God, I want to see, is there going to be some dead bodies, is there going to be some blood, like I want to see people crying and screaming, oh look at the videos. We are all in it, even if it is visible, like how I said, how we interact to pain, how we interact to gore, how we interact to the death and the certainty of death, and how death does not qualify, death does not discriminate, death makes everything just equal. Past lives do exist because nobody is going nowhere and nobody is doing anything which is not copied. That's it. There is no originality here. Originality is in how you play it. If stuff's happening to you, how you play it, that's originality. What you give back to the grid, what you feed back to the grid is you. And the only time you can do that is while you are alive. So past lives do exist. You are probably existing in more people than you know right now. Because once you are dead, you're scattered. You don't go to just one place. You could not just go into one human and that's it, unless you bear literally everything exactly like that person. It happens in the land of, like the neutral lives. This is where it can go. Neutral living, right? Not much of a difference. But usually you can get scattered there is some neutral energy in you which would get absorbed in neutral objects, and there's certain things which will resonate in certain ways, and it's just energy, like attracts like. Just think about it. Every thought of yours, every emotions of yours, every memory you had or hold dear, all of them let loose, all of them, like each strand of hair is separated and can go in as many directions, can find as many homes. Sorry about that noise. I didn't even know there's going to be any noise. I don't know. I do not know what the noise is about. Alright, let's continue. So we got past lives. We all have past lives. And this fell in reverse, which means this is the first step to the end game. To recognizing that we are all redistributed. We've been here, nobody's going nowhere. We've done this many, many times before. We are the ones who placed all these systems in place. They suited us then, they do not suit us now. Whatever it is, first we need to acknowledge the fact that we do have past lives. We are our ancestors. If we have our ancestors in us, it's because we share those things. There is no other way. And if we know that, then we are free to release version 3.0. It's not releasing a painful cycle in your life. This is not talking about painful karma that you're battling in your present life. Don't get me started on karma right now. Tell you what, do not touch the topic of karma till you get the martyr in you out. Till the person in you who's just waiting to believe that yes, you are guilty, yes, you are worthy of punishment, till you have not taken that out of you, do not touch karma. Do not touch the subject of karma. Don't do it. You will fall harder, because you will just take it like, yes, I did what in my past life? Oh yes, I must have. Do not touch past lives, do not touch karma till you have taken away this guilt and this martyr factor out of you. That is the first energy you need to transmute out of you. It doesn't matter if you forever remain a victim of your circumstances. You get that out of you. You first accept that, there's no such thing. It could be that the energies in my field have gone through many things of, such nature, and I'm here processing the same thing. But they are also here telling me that, so if that's what's happening, if I have done this many times before and I have similar energies in my field who have gone through this many, many times before, it's got to come to some conclusion, right? It cannot be same thing, same shit, same understanding, same responses to life as a whole. It cannot always be about making money, finding stability, dying. It cannot all be about being a nurturer, being a good nurturer, creating a home, dying. Can be different, can be the truth. The way to reach it can be very different. It will be different for each and every person. It's like a fingerprint. Even if two people are going through same experiences, their whole life look the freaking same, even if they look the same, even if the people around them are the same, they're still not the same. That is so special about life, because we are all eternal beings walking a delusion. So even one individual is dangerous. You don't know what an individual is, or what an individual being. You would rather play shocked Shocked. My God, how can somebody do this? Oh my God, shocked. We can play the shocking game. I'm shocked. The level of destruction, shocking. Floods in this weather, shocking. What is happening? It's all shocking. We can play the shocked game and know that these things are way beyond us in our limited perceptions of this small us, this us which has just been here, like right now, like, oh, just here to have some fun, eat some food, fuck some people, and die. That's us in a nutshell. How we present it, how we emulate it, how we bring it together for us, all of that is just our perception. We know, we change our mind, we change our life in an instant. We know we can drop any habit, any perception, even about us. We can change with the weather, we can change with the place, we can change with the location, we can change with the circumstances, the surroundings, the people. Everybody does that. And they act like they are sticking true to being themselves. But everybody does that. We are beings of immense potential. These hands can make a cup of tea, and these hands can choke somebody's throat. Both. So yeah, we have past lives. So this is the first thing that we need to agree upon. As a whole, we have past lives. We are all going nowhere. We've been here from the beginning of whatever perception you have of time before. Perception of time came with us. Even the perception of time that we can take it to before, because energy is neither created nor destroyed. And if it were created, we were created during the emergence of the known, the visible universe. Past lives. It also denotes us another fact that we are going to come to, and that is that all our past lives show us at this present moment, because many of us are emerging as the next version of their ancestors, of their entire DNA, of their entire family line, of their entire thinking structure, of their entire community. People are brightening up to many things. It had been gradual. It was supposed to stay gradual, but it's got a pump up. But past lives do also indicate one more thing. What we have learned from all these past lives is that the more things change, the more they remain the same. We change laws, we march, we protest, we get killed. We are the martyr, because we walk into this world knowing that we are martyr, we are guilty, we are deserving of some punishment. Definitely, most definitely, all of us. Oh my God. Oh, and then we fight that perception our whole lives. But you know what? I'll still get that thing or that perception of my life, whatever it is. So what if I have this or I have that? I have this perception of guilt about me, or this perception of shame on me, or whatever. We are all guilty of it. We are all guilty of our past lives. And the fact is that with that guilt and shame, the only thought that occurs to us for doing any good is to becoming a martyr. That if you want to do any good in the world, you're going to be a martyr. Yeah, you cannot bring that kind of stupid change in the world, right? You cannot talk about actual change in the world without immediately becoming a martyr at the same token. Because you're guilty, you should be punished. I mean, so many horrible things are happening, and if you believe in past lives, how many are you sitting here having done yourself? So that thought, that random thing, it's in all of us. Even if it's not in that order, even if you do not say these exact words to yourself, even if you do not pull such things into your conscious self, you still feel like, yeah, you know what? Sacrifice, compromise, accept, helplessness, pain, suffering. Yes, I must agree. Personal happiness must be sacrificed for the greater good. So first you take that analogy, that thinking in whatever pattern you have, however, because this is a pattern which has taken such a serious hold on you, it will take a long time to get it out. Even if you do not want to do any good in the world, you will see anybody doing good in the world as the fucking martyr. So you need to get out of that mentality, number one. You're not a martyr, nobody's a martyr. Things get done. If we are scattered, redistributed, and going nowhere, then even if I end up doing something, even if it is to like clean up one corner, not literally clean up, that can get back to way worse than it was before in a day or so. I'm talking about like if I end up doing something, then you know what, I'm gonna enjoy it even after death. But no more going after one law at a time, one change at a time, because the more things change, the more they remain the same. Didn't we abolish slavery? Just wondering about even two people in that movement in so many parts of the world to abolish slavery, human slavery. It's priceless. Every story is like, oh, I couldn't have been that person. Every story is like, but wow, what? You can feel to that extent that you can actually go stand in front of bullets, go stand in front of people who shame you, see you as an outcast, and do that. Really? Wow. God, leave me to my books, thanks. Wow. Awesome people, awesome lives. Great. Who the fuck? Why? Don't you got anything else to do? Couldn't you just let things be? Can't you just let things be? Just go about your damn job. Some of us are just living a life, okay? That's so me. Yeah, I didn't want to get bothered. Please, I'm bothered already. Go away. And we abolished slavery after so much. And where are we at now? Where is the world at right now? Does it feel, the streets feel like that? Like we did make, like slavery is not a word that will ever be used again, sure. And there is no such, thing as, yeah, you're born to do this or that. Really? Equal opportunity, equal respect. I mean, respect is something which is, it means the same across all living beings, not just human beings. See, we have such a tough problem getting people to understand that respect means same for you and respect means same for everybody, right? From kids, from the day from the time somebody is born, they are told, see, if you respect others, you get respect in return. Respect everybody. See, if somebody does this to you, wouldn't you feel bad? Then why would you do this to somebody else? These are all tactics to let you guys know that, respect means the same for everyone. Even that is incomprehensible to us. Here, I can say that respect is the same for all living things. Because we are again all redistributed and scattered. Why are you looking at a squirrel thinking, oh my god, that is so much like a human? Be careful. It's not like you're dying and squirrels don't exist. There'll still be squirrels to get into. We all have the same amount of respect, and that's where we play, because we know it means the same to each other, and this is where our playground is. We're going to give respect or deny respect according to our judgment, which is more often than not based on really false grounds, because we truly do not, we are totally unaware of the fact how eternal we are, how many past lives we have had, how it is the same thing on repeat. Picture this: you go for a movie, okay, somebody comes, they pick you up, it's your best friend, okay, they come, they pick you up, uh, let's not say best friend, it's the favorite person in the world for you, the one that you want to spend the most of your time with. They come, they pick you up, and you go for a movie. Okay, it's a great movie, you know, that kind of standard movie that you can, you can go and watch, you know. And then you come back, they drop you home, you come back, you sleep. Next day, you don't remember that you did it. It's your favorite person in the world, they come. Hey, it's my favorite person. You probably don't have not met them ever, but that's your favorite person. Hey, it's my favorite person. And hey, a movie, sure. You go and you watch the same fucking movie, but you do not remember shit. And you're watching the same movie. Now imagine doing it 10 million times or more. Every day you forget that you saw this movie, that your favorite person came, you went, you watched the movie, then they dropped you home, you went to sleep, you watched the fucking movie. Now, after some million number of times, you know what's going to happen? The consciousness is going to be like, you know what, I've never seen this movie, but somehow it feels like, like I don't want to. Like I already know the end. What is this? Chick flick? Like, what exactly is this vanilla version of movie? Where is the imagination? Wait, so that's all? You're watching the movie and you're like, wait, what? Maybe I'm different. you will call yourself different rather than just accepting the fact that you might be waking up to the idea that you've been watching this movie and it's been million times maybe. Instead of that, it is better to say, I'm different. I just have a different taste. I just have a different sense. This is not imaginative enough for me. This is not engaging enough for me. You called it standard. You call it standard while you thought it was standard, while you for million fucking times thought this was it. Yourself thought. So when you accept how much time it took you to even start seeing the film, the movie for what it is, and suddenly seeing and feeling that this is not a movie worth watching. Why? Because I've watched it. Only reason I've watched it. Also, I kind of know what that person could have done to avoid that. I mean, you switch the lights on first. Number one. So you kind of know things and you're not aware how you know them, because according to you, you got no memory. How can you have the memory? Every time you die, you lose your coding. You lost your coding. You lost that thread of memories, that thread that you use to make all your experiences shape and form in the future, and all the thoughts that would lead to a decision, all the thoughts that are based on memories, right, of previous decision making and how they came about and what was the method and what was the track. So we repeat a pattern all the time. But the past that we are seeking help from is the past, the conscious past of this birth only. The energies in your field are trying to remind you how infinite you are, how you are eternal, but you will not get it, you will not take it. It is better to say that, I'm just very real different. Sometimes I'm feeling straight, sometimes I feel like I'm gay, sometimes I feel pan, sometimes I'm this, sometimes I'm that. Get the thought across your fucking skull that you've been here since the beginning of time. You can be the whole LGBTQISA for. You've been the whole LGBTQISA. You never wear just this. It's just what came naturally to you this time around, felt closer to home, whatever. And closer to home maybe for you means by darker, painful and whatever. But in the one consciousness realm, these are all there, these all exist. So anybody can pick these experiences up, like why not? And then say, but I didn't choose this life for me. Yeah, I'm going to shut up about that. Okay, next up we have new vision. So the first step as a collective we take is that we accept that we are eternal. The next thing is new vision, of course. Two words I will give you. Two. First is called Myo. Myo means revitalization of life as you know it. Then the next word is Ho. Ho is its manifestation. So the revitalized life to be manifested, the revitalized consciousness to be manifested. If you are watching this video, then you are walking away with a revitalized consciousness. You now taken away the fact that you are eternal. And all that it would bring. See, I'm not giving you all the details, I'm just repeating the same pattern again and again and again, because the details I leave to you. What does eternal mean to you now? Look at all your relationships, look at all the people around you and think how many times you've gone through this. Good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. When you see that, the new vision starts immediately, because now an eternal being is going to make decisions. It's a different ball game altogether. The ball game of the singular life, that this one life is all I know. This is all I know. All the information fed to me since birth is all I got. All the experiences between right and wrong and what works and doesn't work, what is profit, what is a loss, what is power, what is appreciation. All this I know from this birth. That's all I know. So please, that's it. Do not tell me differently. It should have been something that I should have gone through by myself. So the new vision is stopped in that diagonal alignment. It's alignment like this. If we are aligned like this, if ego is always the marker with which we decide who to believe, who not to believe, and usually we believe according to as per our ego, which is only data fed to us during this birth alone. So it's always going to be false. It is false because it's incomplete. This is why it's false. This is why most of the decisions that you end up taking in this birth does not scratch that itch. We are pretty eternal. So when we get to that point, the vision would definitely change. Now it is an eternal's perspective. Do you see that? When you soak up all your lives, when you integrate all your lives, the fact that you're eternal, you have done a lot, you are currently doing a lot in many bodies, just not one, and you're collectively going through a major change. When you see yourself, truly see all of the things that are you, all of the people that you are, all the things and people that you are right now and been and will be, and how connected you all are. then this is the eternal being that you transform into. Suspending of the ego in opposition to detachment of fighting alone, of being alone, defending yourself by yourself, living for yourself, waking up every moment trying to think what is it that you need, want. This is the opposite. An eternal being would just stretch, like, oh, a body another time, one more time, I've got a body, this time it's like this, oh, let's stretch a little. That's a divine being, that's an eternal being, that's divine in itself, because you're soaking up all the divine light. Once you realize who you are, the divine is eternal, right? The next two cards that came were in reverse, and they make absolute sense why they should be in reverse, because first we integrate ourselves to the eternal being that we are. We flower into this version of us, and then comes courage. Sorry, I'm showing change, but yeah, we have courage. Yep, actually courage came. So courage, and it came in reverse. So this is normal, because it's a huge shift. You were trying to go against the grain of maybe the entire humanity. You may be going up against systems that have been in place since before even the culture of what you know was established. Maybe you're going for the jugular, the main vein. Maybe you are de-establishing all that we have brought in so far. Like, this is also our doing, that would also be our doing. Don't we regret it? Or don't we see that it doesn't work anymore? So courage needs to be built up, and the courage gets built up because of the factor that, because of no time factor. It's just got to be done, right? If you were living a life of me, even then you knew there were things that just need to get done. No matter what you want, they just needed to get done. And you did it. You hated it. Half-heartedly you did it. This is asking for a different kind of courage. You want to do it. You will take up the mantle. You're so ready for it. The courage is again the play of, but when I do this, I leave my old life behind. My old me. Forget life. My old me. It's like I'm seeing two sets of lands, okay, and the gap is real small. It's like, when these cracks suddenly appear on land because, the earth's shifting. So two land masses would suddenly start disconnecting, detaching from each other, and growing farther and farther away from each other. And there is a moment like, yeah, you should jump. So courage, because you're going to jump, because this land that you're on is small, and you're going to jump. But the fact is, you jump, there's no coming back. It's not like, because the distance is going to be too big now, you cannot come back. Now again, I'm not talking about like any aspect of your life that you cannot come back to. You can go back to any part of you. You can go back to any place, anything. No matter what happened to you there, it doesn't matter. you can recall that place back in your life. Never ever leave a place saying that, oh, but that's it, I'm done. Fuck this place. People are still living in that place. Stop it. Right? Accept that it was a place where you learned, you grew a lot, you understood, and this is the place that prepared you for the next one. But I'm talking about land masses just because it was a impression coming in for me. Because let's say that one of your legs is on one of the one forward, and the other is still on the other landmass, because you're like, but once I put my step off, once that step is off, once that shoe is off, honey, bye. So this takes a pause. This is not like a lack of courage. This is just a pause. Collective. This is a pause. This is a collective pause of, every time I'm doing these readings, I'm breathing through my nose and I'm exhaling through the mouth. It's like I'm in labor. Courage. It's in reverse, but I'm not getting that same kind of distress from it that I would. And this is something ironic, because if you look at humanity, if you look at the collective us, I should be feeling real desperate. I should be going on buzzing every aggressive button I have on climate, on genocide, on everything. God, I don't want to. There's so much to say. But that's not what's happening. It's not getting triggered. Even if I am talking about it, I'm not getting triggered. There's no rant here. Do you see the difference? I'm not ranting. It would be a rant if we were focusing on one law that needs to change, one thing that is bothering us right now, the one which we can hook all our present anger on, or whatever. Like, this government is going to bring in every change that I want. You government better make all those changes. I'm getting you up there, and kind of. It's in every country. It's in every place. It's, in the end, it's human beings. Whatever happens in your living room echoes out in those rooms, in those high rooms where all these decisions are made. Why? Human, eternal. We are all humans, we are all eternal. The patterns that you see in your living room echoes to the highest echelons of society, wherever, even if it is the Pope's bedchamber. It is all echoing, and it is all choices. If the Pope behaves in a certain manner, choice. If we behave in a certain, whatever we do, it's a choice. We are all eternal beings. Nothing limits us but ourselves, our scope of delusion. And this is why we come from that place of lack, saying that not everybody is going to get everything. So, we got money as a tool to see who gets what and by how much. And we got religion, and we got so many other systems to ensure that the people who get whatever, not just money, but respect, value, love, anything, depends on the accumulation of money. And we will add layer upon layer to it. We will add ethnicity, which is again religion. We will add appearances. We will add social sectors. We will add political sectors. We will add monetary sectors. There are castes entirely made up on money, because of money. The concept of religion also came in because we started trading money. Coming from a place of lack, which says not everybody is going to get everything. Lack. What we do when we watch all these tarot readings, we only hear people talking about never come from a place of lack, come from a place of abundance. How is it possible, dude? I'm living in lack. You have told me ever since I've been born that I have to prove my value. I have to prove my worth all the damn time. That's what I've heard. So there is lack. There's already systems in place, rules in place. I've been born in it. Now, having been born in it doesn't mean that's it. Because if I get in touch with my eternal being, hold on now. I did all this. In fact, I had a huge role to play in all this. I have not been suffering just once. I have suffered many times at the hands of me, myself. When you come to that point, it becomes easier to then have courage. Because the courage here is not that I'm gonna get killed. It's the courage of it needs to get done, it should get done. That's all. Alright. Sorry for the pause. This is the courage that you need to bring up in yourself to step away from the old you. And the old you doesn't exist. The old you and the new you is still you. The old you was the one that believed that, it's just that one person, this one life, this one body. And when you leave that behind, there is a courage that you need to just, like letting go of something familiar again. That's what it is. This is the lack of courage here, which isn't a lack really, because you have suddenly realized that you do not come from a place of lack. You feel whole. When you feel whole, the courage or even if there is the courage card comes in reverse or any card comes in reverse, it is not coming from a place of lack. It can't anymore, because you are full. You're filled up. You know the truth of your existence now, and everybody else's existence at the same token. So if that has happened, you can never come from a place of lack. Even when you are lacking courage, lacking anything in your life, there is no lack. This is the lack of courage anybody would want to feel. Like, I wish I had this as a challenge in my life than the challenges I have. I wish I had the courage to have those challenges that you got than the one I have. This is the courage which can make people jealous. This is that kind of courage. It can trigger jealousy in people. Then comes change, and it's in reverse. This is again the pause. Collective. The change is in the pause. The change is on pause. What do you think? I'm going to do a collective and say that the change has begun. If the change had begun, you would be able to see it. Go outside, just take a look. You'll see the change. Collective, because the change is on pause. And it's not going to be a long pause. Because an eternal being knows that the delay is not really a delay. There is no delay anymore. Everything happens, past, present, future. Everything happens, and everything's been coming to this point in time when we are all circling the drain. When we are about to go through the drain, or most of us have already gone through the drain. We are already dead. We're not coming back. Even if we are coming back, it won't be for long. It can be. Not all of us can come back. Not that many bodies, not that many energies left, not that much space to consume. And obviously the earth cannot sustain life anymore. That's where we are at. So the change is on pause, because the change is on us as higher consciousness beings. We always had a choice between either to do higher consciousness acts or to stick out like a sore thumb on Earth's face, because all other species know how to coexist, but then there's us. There's just us. And then we shout at each other, I need space! We all do. The change is on pause because we chose to stick out like a sore thumb. And now the choice is exactly the opposite. It is to change the criteria of what we see as work, what we do for work, why we do it. Would we do any work if there's no money attached to it? Because there's work. There's so much work. It would take generations to do all the work. But there will be no stepping out of the house to earn money, that I need to do this work, this mindless piece of work every day so that I can earn some money. That won't be there. So the change is for, are we ready for that leap? Are we ready for that world? Are we ready to bring it? Because unashamedly, it is true that whoever goes out in the field first gets bloodied the most. And we are getting bloodied anyway, whether we go on the field to change these things or not. Everything in this world is going against whatever our heart's desires are, whatever our existence is, whatever we acknowledge as our truth. All the systems right outside of our bodies are denying us all of it. Our very existence is in question. Like everything we do, everything that we are as a human being is being valued against a set of systems and rules that we ourselves came up with. And some of them just, we were high. Like, not literally, I'm just saying that we have made up a lot of rules as we have gone along. Because we are beings of higher consciousness. We can delude ourselves to any level. So this is the fear, the change of bringing in the new world, because it would mean a massive change, the kind of change that we have not had in the longest amount of time. This is not about going law by law. It is not by trying to influence one set of people. It is about saying, let's get rid of it. Doesn't work for us no more. Also, as a collective, see, as an individual, even in 4 days, you would like to be called a different person. Yeah? You individually agree that you have grown a lot since you were born, since this thing, since that experience, since that time, that phase, whatever. On an individual level, we all believe we have grown, we have changed, we are different. We are different from how we were last night. This is what we think. This is what we are as an individual. Collective, though, is a separate matter altogether. Collectively, we have not grown a day. The collective wants to think that no, we have not grown a day. Same rules that we had when we first started coming out of our houses, that we first started doing trading for, because one of us got sugar, the other has got a sheep. Now what? So I hand you my sugar, you give me a sheep, and how is that fair? So we came up with money. My God, since then till now. What a delusion. That all the systems, why humans, why any one of us, why the individual feels weak when it sees itself stacked up against the systems, because all of these systems do not consider humanity. Humanity is eternal. All these energies are eternal. Right now, let's just go with that. We have been here for a long time. This had to come to a point where somebody was like, oh no, this all got to go now. So what if we have been in this delusion for fucking forever? Now. People are dying, but people will die. People are dying right now. So the change is on pause because we are on pause. As a collective, we are on pause. We totally agree that we are unchangeable. Nothing's ever going to change. The more things change, the more they fucking remain the same. We have agreed on it. We have accepted money as a part of our life, religion as a part of our life. All we have to do is doing it under the umbrella of money. Everything we are needs to be tailor made for money. Even our wishes, hopes, and desires have to be transformed into money for them to be substantial, for them to exist. The only way to prove you are fortunate, you are God's favorite, is by money. Money decides all of this. And that change is on pause for us, because we have brought ourselves to this point, the whole of the earth to this point, and change is again collective, is on us. We did this, we reversed this. How about that? No more talk about going to another planet, because it's an outback rule that you leave a place in a better condition than how you found it. And here we are doing exactly the opposite. If there are aliens watching us right now, they are like, fuck, we were late, there are already invaders here. What is their home planet? God. When are they leaving? They're almost done. Let's just watch them for a bit longer. They're almost done. Must be a higher consciousness species. I mean, they got here before us. We do not act like we are a product of this planet. We are harvesting this planet. We are mining this planet. We are eating this planet, and then we are like, oh, let's go. We done. This place is so over. We are the product of this planet. In nowhere does life like this can exist. Nowhere. Try it, find it. You will find life, but this life, in no way, the way it is right now. Even with the heat, in no way, collective. You're not getting it nowhere. Your kids are never going to go there, nor your grandkids. Even if there is a Noah's Ark, nobody's getting on it. Nobody that you know is getting on it. Just get that, because it's again gonna come from a place of lack, which means not everybody is going to get on it. These are the projections. Wow. I'm tired of projections. It seems like that's all I've had. Projections. All your life, it could be about projections only. Other people's projections on you, drains you, exhausts you, makes you back off immediately, like, Why? Projection is your protection. These are, okay, let's talk about a projection that happens between people, right? Whenever you see, what is a projection? Whenever you see someone trying to blame you or trying to speak about you in a manner which is untrue to who you are, that is a projection. Even if it is based on certain actions, certain words, certain demeanors of yours. Okay? And if you do not identify with it, it is a projection. When people are projecting onto you, that is your protection. It translates into your natural protection, because you saw it, you saw the dissonance. You agreed to then explain or indulge or engage with that person in any manner or form. That is what will kill your protection. That you just denied your protection. The natural protection that you have of being an eternal soul, of having so much information, so much understanding about the human form, about human habits, about human emotions, everything. You're denying it. You denied it. You denied your protection and you moved ahead trying to explain yourself to another person, which you know is projecting. Why is it a projection? How do you know it's definitely a projection? It is how it would feel in your body. Hearing it, it would be jarring. It may be something that never even crossed your mind. So when people are projecting onto you, that is your protection, immediately protection. Now, how does that translate? How does that echoes into the collective? Keep hold of this info of projection, how it happens between two people, and now echo it, reverberate it. See its ripple effect going way farther than people alone. As a collective, whenever you're told of a certain restriction in your life, how do you feel? The dissonance. Do you feel the dissonance? It's a body thing. We were raised on the values of money. Whether we were born in money, not born in money, whether we were born in love, not born in love, doesn't matter. We were all told how to live, and they were all based on money. A man whispering in a child's ears while she's sleeping, she's an infant, and he's saying, my daughter is going to be a CA. What is she going to be? She's going to be a CA. That man's pretty progressive, right? He's trying to get his daughter a job. He's already working and thinking about her stability. He's such a progressive man. He needs to be progressive because the world demands money. There is nothing else in this world to achieve unless you have a pocket full of cash. He wants a daughter to have so much money that when she opens her mouth, no one checks for grammar. That's what he wants. Secretly, that's what he wants. It's how we were raised. That man is going to be the biggest supporter for his daughter. He's going to be the best specimen of manhood for his daughter. He's always going to be the first love and remain the love of her life. No doubt. For these people, we need to remove money from the world. For these people, we need to change it. So no man, no woman, no child would ever have to feel the dissonance of leading a life which is materialistic. Why? It kills you, completely kills you. Imagine, you don't have to imagine. I don't even have to make sense. My words do not even need to make sense. Abolishment of money. How we are raised will change. How we are educated will change. Who goes for what then in their life as their passion change. Let's see who picks up the scalpel then. Let's see who wishes to fight for people in the courts then. It will change everything. It will change because humans need to first accept that we are all eternal beings, that we did this, we can end this, we can change this. And the work, there will be a lot of work. The work of bringing this planet back together, wow, to entirely restructure cities, towns, countries, to get off politics, to get off religion, to get off money. There is no test city that we can have. We cannot test this theory on a city. It's going to fail. Either it happens everywhere or it happens nowhere. For you to organize some sort of a test city, again, what you're going to need, money. Kind of puts you in the dilemma again. I need money to get the world rid of money. So projections are on the individual level, then the projections go on and resonate higher. So whenever you have felt dissonance in your body, collective, if you have felt dissonance in your body, then that is a projection. Immediately you know this is a delusion. My human skills, my human form, my eternal existence isn't so I can work and have some money and give you some money and show you why I am respect worthy. Collective, this is the projections card. It actually came up right, but then my goal is to expose all of these projections and to cancel them one by one, and I will keep doing it, and outcomes don't matter. I'll keep aligning myself. These things will keep, the examples will become more concise, more precise. It will go down smoother and easier, but I'll keep in alignment with my intention, which is from the beginning of the first video, and that is to get to the eternal you first, so you know how free you are. Truly free you are. We have been through the Lion's Gate portal. It shows us that certain things are not meant to be anymore. And on a bigger scale, collective, I cannot talk about the individual here. We have talked about the individual, but I cannot talk about the individual like, oh, the challenges of the individual. The challenges of the individual are an echo of the challenges of the collective. And these challenges will never go away. Your prayers will never die. In every phase of your life, you will have needs. Right now, you are focused on you. You need this for you. You need that for you. Then it will be your kids. And then it will be their lives. And it is so easy to forget and lose ourselves in this, that we forget that the world is dying right around us. Still, the flood is inside our houses. When all of us are displaced, this is the reason why no matter what heights we achieve on an individual level, that itch just does not get scratched. No amount of fame, love, money gets there. Just gets there. That right there, yeah. That's what the itch was. That good fortune is not equal to money. It is not equal to, oh, you first prove how fortunate you are. You have your own house. You have a good job. It is again money. They have to believe that that is a good fortune. Why? Because we have a system, it's called money. When we get rid of that system, see how prayers change. See how many prayers actually go upstairs. See how many pray. And for what? We already have death, we already have disease, we already have sudden losses, we already have nature taking its course, we already have old age. So much in this life that is supposed to keep us in the mode of suffering or give us a taste of the suffering from time and time again. What we can do is we can take out this extra stuff that all other species are looking at us and going like, what? Only you need a system? Why? You gonna go crazy without it? Is that it, collective? But human beings need a system. They need to be told what to do at all times. Let go. There is a system. It can come in place. First, we need to start the talk, the dialogue at least, that we need to get rid of the entire system and stop feeding to it, stop feeding more lives to it, stop teaching more lives on how to exist within a system of money, what stability is, what they can have and cannot have in this lifetime in the periphery of money. First, let's do that. We can talk, we can come together, we can create a resource based economy. We can do that. There's already a plan for it. It stopped because of what? Money. We could all be having all the resources that we needed right now. Collective, we may not have the time to debate this, we may not have the time to feel emotional of it, or give give an answer in the form of aggression. We cannot go and start trashing things, or this is not the thing. We are not having this conversation so we can go out and be aggressive that, oh my god, we need to get this out now, but we need to start the talk. It has to happen now. We don't know how easy it could catch fire. Now is the right time to have these conversations. All of these systems have let us down, have been letting us all down. It is just that some of us, it doesn't get, they don't get to see the injustice in one birth and feel like, oh, but we are God's fortunate child. So let's do this, collective. Let's start cleaning up and questioning the delusions. Let's see what you go for then. In life, in love, in work. Let's see. I want you to have that freedom, at least. To know who you would truly be without money. Take care, collective.